If you're struggling with anxiety, one of the most common questions people have is 100% recovery even possible? Am I gonna go back to my old self? Am I gonna go back to my carefree, happy self where I'm not experiencing these physical symptoms, I'm not running away from anxiety, I haven't changed my lifestyle to adjust to my anxiety, I'm not dealing with this derealization, depersonalization? Will I ever go back, or am I always gonna deal with this handicap? Well, in this video, I'm gonna share with you the truth about 100% recovery, and it's honestly not what you think. And so definitely stay till the end of this video because there's going to be some really important things, especially towards the end. So let's get started. So I remember going to my doctors and I'm like, look, something's wrong, something's off, I don't know what it is. And they would tell me like, okay, what's going on? And then they would run a bunch of tests and then they said you were fine. And I was like, I don't feel fine. And then I ended up going to psychologists. They did their usual, going into childhood trauma, trying to figure out if I've always been like this, trying to just give me some breathing exercises and say, this is just anxiety, everybody gets it. And I would always ask him the same question, which is like, am I ever gonna go back? Am I ever gonna go back to that 100%? Am I ever gonna go back to that person that I used to be, that carefree self? And depending on who I asked, they gave different answers. And during my whole recovery stage, the whole process, even when I was focusing on the right steps, I would wonder, is recovery even possible? And the honest truth is, recovery is possible, but not to 100%, okay? And so the truth is that you don't actually go back to your 100% self. Now, if you're somebody who's been struggling with anxiety that's new to this channel, you may be like freaking out a little bit. You may be like, why is this happening? Even if you're somebody who has been watching this channel for a bit, who's watching these videos, who says, my videos are a lot more optimistic, this can sound scary. Oh my God, what do you mean you don't go back to 100%? And I have a lot of people, even in my mentorship, mention this. They're like, I thought I was like at 75% recovery and, turns out I'm doing better or I'm doing worse. And I also have people reaching out to me on my social media, like Instagram, where they're asking me questions and they're saying, hey, Shaan, look, I'm at 70% recovery or I'm at 90% recovery, but I'm having trouble with this one thing. And while I understand what they're talking about, the truth is that recovery doesn't work that way. Recovery doesn't work on this percentage scale. I think if you ask anybody that recovers, all the success stories on my channel, me as an anxiety recoverer, people that have recovered and overcome anxiety, they don't look at recovery as 0 to 100. It's not like this percentage scale. And oftentimes when people feel like they're at a certain percentage, they're honestly wrong. I meet people who say they're at 90% and then they come to the mentorship and they're not as far along as they think. Now it's okay, we just correct a few things, we guide them, and then they're back to living in no time. And at the same time, I see people who feel like they've made no progress, who have experienced a setback, and then they say, oh my God, I feel like I'm back in square one. And it's like, no, you're not. You're actually doing really well. This is part of the journey. It's not like you experiencing a setback means you're doing something wrong. It's part of the journey. And so what this idea of 100% does, the mistake that it does is that it creates recovery. It makes recovery like a finish line. It makes it feel like recovery is like this finish line that one day you're not recovered, the next day you're recovered, and then you go back to living. And that's not really how recovery looks like. If you ask anybody who recovers, recovery is more of like a gradient. It's like layers, right? And so what I always say, when I was recovering, I would ask myself, like, am I at 100%? Am I doing a lot better? And rather than looking at it that way, rather than looking at 100%, one of the great advantages I had was the fact that I actually didn't know recovery was possible. Now, that sounds weird, but the truth is that my job was just to get a little bit better. And I measured how I was getting better based on how well I was going back to living. Because I understood one thing. I kept trying to fight these symptoms. I was always trying to figure it out and it never worked. And if anything, I would always sabotage my own recovery. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna stop doing that. I'm just gonna live with it. And if I have to just live with it for the rest of my life, that's how it's gonna be. And that honestly was very scary to me at the time. It was really scary thinking this is always something I'm gonna have to do. Even the most smallest things seemed like such big tasks. And the thing is that I looked at recovery, and I think the way to look at recovery isn't based on how you felt in the past. The truth is that you should be measuring your recovery based on, you know, what are you doing in life? Like, let's say, what is old Shaan able to do that I need to work myself towards? In other words, I look at it more based on, are you able to do all the things? Are you able to have a full life? Yeah? Are you able to have a full life where maybe even a symptom pops up, but you know how to address it and then it goes away real quick? Or maybe the symptom doesn't pop up and it's fine. And anxiety is not really part of the discussion. The idea really is that are you living your life fully and freely? Are you living your life in a way where you're not even concerned about these symptoms? Where you're not even concerned about, you know, what happens if I get derealized? What happens if I experience physical symptoms, if I'm getting intrusive thoughts? Because you know how to respond and you've seen these symptoms go away, right? So the idea is that you don't want to measure it based on how you're feeling, but really how you're living. Because here's the thing, okay? If I was going based on this 0 to 100 scale where, you know, am I 100% recovered? Well, there were times in the past, long time ago, where I felt like, you know, I'm doing everything in my life. Like, I'm doing everything that I wasn't able to do. You know, if you know my story, I was agoraphobic. I couldn't even leave the house. And so, you know, from that to working full time, to having a great social circle, to traveling the world, to living carefree, to doing what I always loved, you know, I was doing that. And, you know, to me, that was 100%. And so was I experiencing symptoms? It depends. There were some moments I were, and then there was a point where it all went away. And here's the thing, even after that, if you would have asked me a year later, how are you doing? I would have said I'm actually doing better. So even though I thought I was at 100%, the next year I was even better than I was. And then each year it's gotten better and better. Really, it has. I know, look, I'm 32. That's a separate topic. But the idea is that my 30s are already so much better than my 20s were. Like, literally, my life has gotten better post-anxiety. Actually, it's not like I was looking at my past at this as this gold standard where I was like, oh, I need my life to be like how it was. It's like, actually, in a lot of ways, it's even better. It's honestly better actually in every domain, from the work that I'm doing, to the way I'm living, to my happiness, to my health. In every single domain, I'm doing better. And you know, that's such a dream come true, right? To me, it's like, you know, striving for that old 100% sounds so silly now. It seems so like, oh, like, why even go for 100 when things could be even better? So the thing is that I wouldn't measure your progress based on 100%. What I would measure your progress on, how are you living your life? Are you living the fullest life? Are you living life freely? And yes, that also means not living with these symptoms, these debilitating symptoms that you have. I understand. There's no way anybody could live like that long term. I understand. I had the same thing. But going back to living and really focusing on the right steps. This is exactly what we do in the mentorship. So much of the mentorship isn't just about getting people better and having these symptoms go away, but regaining their life. Like, what are the things that anxiety is holding you back from right now? What is it doing? How would your life look different right now? And going forward for that life, not waiting for these symptoms to go away and then focus on it. Recovery is a lot about seeking that life while focusing on the recovery aspect, right? Recovery doesn't happen in a vacuum. So I hope this video helps. I hope it clarifies this misunderstanding that I hear all the time, that 100%, it doesn't really exist. Can you fully overcome this? Yes. Can you recover from this fully? Absolutely. But this whole 100% notion doesn't work. This isn't based on some quantitative number or percentage scale. This is different. This is experiencing life, and you can't quantify that. So I hope this video helps. And if you really want to know more about how we help people overcome, how to get out of this, how to really focus on long-term living and being carefree, how was I able to overcome this? How are we able to do what I did and help people around the world and have them live carefree, well then there's a link down below to apply for mentorship. Now it's application only. We work with a select amount of people around the world. We really want to make sure that we're helping people. Yeah, we really want to provide solutions here. And so if you're invested in getting this problem fixed, really focusing on, look, Shaan, like whatever happened, like I'm really trying to focus on going back to living, really regaining my life, and I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to put in the effort. Then you can go ahead and click down below and apply for mentorship. When you hit the link, you're gonna watch a video. The video is about 20 minutes. It really breaks down how the mentorship works. I highly recommend watch that video fully. After that, it'll lead you to an application page. Once that happens, my team and I will review it. We review every single application, every single one. We've gotten tens of thousands of applications, seriously, and we've honestly reviewed all of them. I've personally reviewed, I think, almost all of them, at least like 95%. And so we review it as a team, and if you're a good fit, we'll have a free strategy session, and then if it's something we can help you with, we'll invite you to the mentorship. If not, that's cool. We'll give you free resources. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll be fully transparent. So I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one.